Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. Heidi's Road to Happiness. Heidi here. Well, today I'm just going to tell you some stories. We last ended up around the age of 18, I guess, and I told you all about my stuff, all my codependence and enabling and blah, 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 blah. So that's a lot to start with and hit all that stuff before you're 20. But it teaches you a lot and molds you a little bit, right? So when I was young, I was a very outspoken child, curious. I wanted to know stuff. I asked questions, and I called it for what I seen it, and I'm still like that today. Okay, my sister Janice wasn't born for like 8 years after me, so I was an only child for quite a while, and I hung out with the adults because what else are you going to do when you're a kid, right? Or they'd bring their kids, and I'd hang out with them and try to occupy those guys while the adults were conversing in the kitchen or the backyard or whatever. There was the crew from the bowling alley, I guess, eh? They all hung out together. Bowling was a big thing in my parents' life. And all their friends were from like, oh, this is Whiskey, in case you don't know. So say hi, Whiskey. Hi, say hi. Look. Oh, that's Whiskey. So anyway, no, there's nobody here. No, it's okay. So I would hang out with the kitchen ladies and listen to their clucking, cluck, cluck, cluck. Yeah, and in every crew and group like that, there's always toxic people. So there was some toxic people in there, and this is where the comments from the older ones came towards Heidi, and whatever. I took it for what it was, and I carried that stuff. But I was a very determined child, and all these people had kids. And when I was younger, I wanted, I wanted things and stuff. And so I would babysit. And I wouldn't just babysit, I'd babysit. So I waited for Christmas and New Year's because there's lots of stuff going on for those bowling people. And I wouldn't have a couple kids, I'd have like 5 or 6. 5 or 6 kids in one night that I'm babysitting. And I'd call in the reinforcement, my girlfriend Lori. And her payment would be barbecue chips, onion chip dip, icy cups, and Tang. That was the Friday night special that we had. But anyway, she would come and help out. And I'm sure I gave her some money. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But, later on I wanted a bike. And my mom saw a kid get hurt on a bike right outside the house, basically. And she wouldn't buy me a bike. So I asked my dad if I earned my own money, could I buy myself a bike? He said yes. So what I did was I got a paper route. I started that paper route, I think I had 36, 39 papers. After a year, I had 100 and some, 39. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a big load for a grade 6er. And I was pretty small. I still am. I'm a pretty small guy. And that bag was heavy. And I got me a lump on my neck from carrying that bag for a year. So I would get recruits. I'm always all about getting recruits, right? Because if my job, which usually ended up being too big because I'm very determined and I'm very, I'm going to do this. I go big or go home, I gather. I brought in Sandra and Agnes. Now, you guys know who you are. Hi, Sandra. I know you're watching me. And we would deliver papers, and I would pay them in chocolates and chips as well. I didn't make a lot of money per paper. I think it was like, I don't know, 11 cents a paper back then. I can't remember. It wasn't a lot. And collecting, that was kind of scary because there was a lot of old guys and they lived by themselves and they had one leg and the place smelled weird. And I'm grade 6 and I'm like, hi, paper girl. Hey. Anyway, so that's where that's at. After that, I started working at the Crow. I'm going to talk about the Cripple Crow. Cripple Crow is the place to be. My dad owned the Cripple Crow, and that's in Westport. He bought it from Reg Bonazzo way back when. My kids brought me this shirt this year. Now, I think you could get these at the 807 in Thunder Bay. But it's the Cripple Crow logo. There it is. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. This is where my childhood was, right? Like the beginning of my teenage life into my, end of teenage life. And the Cripple Crow. And I thought I'd bring my friend today. Here he is. There's the Cripple Crow. So, we spent a lot of years there, and I learned a lot of good stuff. I was in the kitchen at first, and I learned my kitchen chops. I learned everything there except gravies and soups, which I learned later on in life, and that's okay. I'm a soup fiend now. I make the greatest soups. But you know, the pizza was my specialty, like, because you had to whip out a lot of pizzas. I remember one time we got 135 small specials for the stud mill in the craft, and I'm like, yeah, the stud mill. No, but actually it was the stud mill, and we had to deliver 135 meals at one time. I was calling everybody, and so we got pizzas, lasagnas, and spaghettis going out, but I mean, I learned a lot of good stuff in there. And when I hit the age of 18, I could now work in the bar. So I would get up in the morning, be at the Crow for 9, to open the kitchen at 11, and then from then till 6 o'clock, I'd be in the kitchen. At 6 o'clock, I'd change my clothes and put on my flat shoes and go into the bar, and I'd serve in there till 1. We'd clean up till 2, and then we'd drink until I don't know what time, and I'd do it all over again. Every day, same thing, right? Every day, same thing. But anyway, in the meantime, I bought a car. My dad co-signed, and he was like, you better pay. And of course I'm going to pay. I'm a very responsible chick. So I smashed the car, but I still paid the debt. And my dad was very proud of me. And that's like the first time we had an adult conversation. And he finally told me that he loved me. I was 18 before I heard that the first time. My sister Janice wasn't so lucky. I gather it was just before he died. I was living with Dad, and he's making liver. And I was talking to Jen, and I was just about to hang up, and Dad yells out, "Tell her I love her!" And she dropped the fucking phone. She dropped the phone. I'm like, "Are you all right?" She says, "He's never said that before." And I'm like, "Oh." So, you know, that was nice for her. I mean, but you shouldn't have to wait that long to get an I love you from your parental unit, you know? But Dad's old school, come from Switzerland, you know how it is. A lot of you know how it is. You don't get told the real feelings. You're just always told the bad stuff because they don't want you to be bad. And they don't always say, hey, way to go, which you really need in life. Don't forget that if you got your own kids, okay? Because you got to support, that's support, right? Anyway, moving on. This is where I met my second real boyfriend. He was a musician, and he was my dad's partner. So that didn't go over very well because he was 10 years older than I. So I was 18 and he's like 27 or something. And we decided we're going to move in together. I know this is just rude. I probably should have left this part out, but this is the kind of person I am. It is, whatever. I said, so Joe and I are going to move in together. And my stepmom Wendy says, do you know who you went home with 2 days ago? And I said, do you know who I went home with 3 days ago? And they were like, their jaw just like they want to hear that shit from the kid, right? I was just cocky. Yeah, oh yeah. I was just, never mind. I'm doing what I want to do. Leave me alone. So anyway, I went there, and that was not good because he's just a toxic person as well, a drunk. Well, no, okay, he's not a drunk. He was an alcoholic. I'm sorry to say that. He was, but he was. And he was very flippant, very talented. He could sing really well. I love singers. I'm sorry. I love singers. They make my heart excited, which makes everything else excited. Anyway, he was not good for me at all. He owned the bar with my dad. Sundays I would go in. I was a Sunday bitch in the bar. Now, the Crow was in 3 sections, bottom section, mid section, and top section. On Sunday, I'm the only guy until the owner or manager comes in, which is Joe's shift, Joe. And of course, he doesn't come in until whatever, 3, 4. I gotta run the whole place myself and take food orders and fill the fridges and make sure everybody has liquor and all the ashtrays are clean and blah, blah, blah. So on Sunday, everybody knew the system because I was the only girl. It was all the time. This is my dad's bar. This is what I do. So I take one section down here. I take all their orders. I would go to the bar and prepare all their orders. In the meantime, a line from the other 2 would start forming. As soon as I got the memory part all done, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? I'd have 12 beer lined up, and I'd be, I had this shit down. And I would just hand them all out. Then I'd take that order over here, and I'd do all that, empty ashtrays, take the empties, walk around the midsection, do it all over again, right? Back in here, and now everybody else knows the routine. It was like that all the time. And then you had to fill the beer fridges, and we didn't have a cold fridge holder. It was just in the back room. And yes, a lot of times the beer was warm, which is bad. That's why everybody went to the West Fort. You know, I'm just saying. Plus the West Fort had draft. We didn't. I remember the first time someone asked me to make a B-52. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm trying to put ice in it, and I'm like, what? Anyway, shooters, right? Oh, what a concept. That's when they began, in the 70s, right? So anyway, yeah, I mastered that job. I did a really good job at that job. With the Joe, we had strippers. I remember this was like pretty much it. We had strippers in. Oh, that's another good story. Anyway, we had strippers in, and this one, she was a nasty, nasty lady, and she drank Dirty Mothers all week, and it was on tap. And at the end of the week, I had to pay the strippers in my dad's back office. And my dad's back office is the size of a bathroom, okay? So I'm in there, and I'm showing her the tab, and I says, okay, so she didn't get a lot of money at the end of the week. And she grabbed me by the throat, and she put me up against the wall, and she said, just because I'm screwing your old man, don't mean you have to rip me off at the end of the week. And I'm like, you're screwing my dad? And she goes, no, Joe. And I'm like, oh, ah. Anyway, I got out of there with my life, thank goodness. That wasn't a pleasant day. But, you know, I mean, that's the kind of shit. We're in Westfort, man. The bar is open on Sundays. There's only two, the Horseshoe and the Cripple Crow. And the Horseshoe's over on this side, and Cripple Crow's over on this side. So, you know, it was busy all the time on the Sunday. Yeah, anyway, good times, good times. But anyway, that's where I met the next band that came in, and that was after I came back from BC, was Jade. A lot of the same players as the band with Joe, but it was reformed, and Hugh was one of the players. He was the keyboard player. And I thought he was cute, and he had a nice ass, and I can never remember his name because it's Hugh. And so I wrote huge on his tab because I didn't know how to spell Hugh. Anyway, we started dating, and that was a weird thing. But he took me out in public, you know. The other two guys didn't take me out in public. The other two guys put me down all the time. I went for people who abused me all the time, right? Just didn't treat me well or right. And so he took me out in public, and then we started dating, and his band would tour around Northwestern Ontario, you know, Nipawin, Atikokan, big time, Fort Francis, you know, that kind of thing. The Moose Tour, we called it. And our whole crew would jump in cars and drive to that town and stay overnight, and we'd party down with the band. That's kind of what happened in Thunder Bay. You'd gain a following, and they'd follow you, and it didn't matter if you were in town, out of town. We all just kind of went. It was great. It was good stuff. And it was always participation too, right? We'd start clapping and we're dancing. It was good times. It really was. So during that time, you know, those teenage years, I was learning how to be diligent and hardworking, you know, because you got to be hardworking to be a Zellweger, right? That's how that kind of works. Well, look, see, here's my cards. And once again, I keep forgetting to use my cards. All right, so, oh, I said that one, and I said that one. What's this one over here? Yep. All right, so, but, you know, I got the determination, the drive, the strive, and the thought of have to be good and make it to the top. That's what I got in those years. And that's how I am, right? I got to make my dad proud of me. I got to make sure I'm making money. I got to make sure I'm always working and trying to be better and learn more stuff. That's just me in a nutshell, okay? So, and then this is when, just before I met Hugh, and we started dating. But at this point in time, I mean, we're 14 minutes in. It's been a wonderful time, a great story, so what, blah, blah, blah. But I want to talk about the self-talk. Like, you know, I mean, in the back of your head, you're telling yourself things. What are you telling yourself, right? Are you telling yourself you can do it? Or are you telling yourself you can't do it? That procrastination. I was talking about that a little bit on the last show. The voice in your head, right? When we're young, the things that are negative are like on a repeat in the back of our head, in our subconscious. And a lot of times we're very, very unaware that our subconscious is leading us. And because lots of stuff goes on in there. You don't realize it, right? And it's like dreams. You got dreams for a reason. Some of them are pretty silly and weird. I don't remember a lot of dreams anymore. But, I mean, the self-talk. What are you saying? Are you telling yourself you're good enough? Are you telling yourself you're deserving? Are you telling yourself you don't? And get off the pot. You know you're not. Like, what are you doing this for? Is that what you're telling yourself? You can't do that, okay? Once again, it's up to you. Happiness is a choice. You can get up every day and be pissy, okay? Every day, because I would wake up every day, I was angry, right? I had a lot of things to be angry about because I didn't understand a lot of stuff. And I'd wake up every day and I'm angry. And I would carry that angry feeling and that anger with me all day. And you can't do that. You gotta put it aside. Like, change it, right? You're in charge of your happiness. This is the other thing. And I know it's really got nothing to do with the story, but it does. I mean, I chose to keep moving forward in a positive manner, even though I had a lot of negativities in my life. I mean, you could always blame shit on your parents. I know a lot of people do that. No, you have to be, you are you, right? You're the only one in control of you. Now, everything in life is a choice, and I didn't learn this until late in my life, that everything is a choice. Yes, you are in charge of you. You are the only one in charge of yourself, in charge of your mind, in charge of your actions, in charge of all that. You are. There is nobody else to blame. You can't. It's your choice, right? I didn't learn this choice thing for a long time. There's a lot of things I didn't learn for a long time. And hopefully I'll get to some of that. I'm still just trying to figure out a way to present to you guys and make it understandable, entertaining, and be on track with where I'm trying to go, right? So anyway, that's my story for today. I know it's a little jumbled at the end. It's just because I'm getting flustered now because, you know, I'm sliding around on my track. But I will be back soon, sooner than later, because, yeah, I haven't caught my mouse yet. I'm still working on it. But, hey, I'm getting there. I want to thank you for coming. If you liked what I've got to say, please give me a like. Subscribe. I know a lot of people don't understand about subscribing. It does not cost you anything. You just, when you're on my video, you toggle up and it'll ask, you toggle over and it said subscribe. You hit yes and then subscribe, and then you just back out of there and watch the rest of the show, okay? Facebook people, if you could share on Facebook the link that I give you, maybe somebody else could see that too. I'm really trying to build the channel and in turn, you know, do some good. Heidi today, signing off. Love y'all. Mama, talk to you soon. Have a good Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever the hell day it is.